guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Alright, so today was apparently a very big day. Angela Pollina took the stand, from what I understand, at 3 p.m. today. I don't know if they finished beyond the defense questioning her, but I got to cover Monday as well as today, so I'm going to get everything caught up. So it looks like there may be closing arguments tomorrow. I did not expect that this trial would be potentially like this short, not even a full 2 weeks. So, wow. So let's get into all this stuff, and then I've got a post from Justyna that she posted on Facebook this morning, and I wanted to go through that. So, like I said, we're going to get us all caught up to Pollina on the stand today. So I'm going to jump around a little bit here on coverage. I'm going to be using Newsday, of course. We got into News 12, the Bronx, and there's also some patch. So here is News 12. Medical examiner Thomas Valva suffered hypothermic effects before 2020 death. So let's check out their little video here.
Week 2 of the murder trial of Angela Pollina, and it was another emotional day of testimony. News 12's crime reporter Krista McNally was in the courtroom all day. And Krista, what witnesses took the stand today?
So today we heard from Sergeant Norberto Flores and Dr. Michael Kaplan. Sergeant Flores walked us through text messages between Angela Pollina and Michael Valva. Some of those texts, she was saying that she would not be letting the children back into the home from the garage, whereas we have reported they were sleeping. Some of those texts also correlated with videos. In those videos, we saw Thomas and/or Anthony sleeping in the garage and also in a tent in the backyard. Now, Dr. Kaplan performed the autopsy on Valva, and he believes that hypothermia was the cause of his death. He also saw a photo of Thomas before he died and said that he had been hypothermic at other points before his death, as seen by his red hands. In one of the photos, he said that was a reaction to being brought into a warm environment after being cold.
More of those difficult details coming out. Krista, now, could Thomas have died from a head injury? We recall initially the parents reported he fell in the driveway on the way to the bus, right?
So that is what the parents told police, but the doctor that performed the autopsy today said that while there were bruises on Thomas's head, when they did the autopsy, they found there was no damage to his brain. So a brain injury was ruled out almost immediately as the cause of death.
All right, and Krista, before we let you go, how has Pollina pled, and will we be hearing from her directly at some point?
So Pollina has pled not guilty, and as soon as the prosecution is done calling their witnesses, she will be next, and that can happen, we are told by her attorney, as soon as tomorrow. So we will be hearing from her, presumably within this week. Now, we did speak to her attorney earlier today about what happened during the trial. Take a listen to what he had to say.
What she did do is the opposite of act with the preempt indifference to human life. What she did do is that she brought blankets, she brought a heater, and she tried to help out. It was the father's acts from the beginning to the end which caused his death.
Now, again, we will be hearing from Pollina herself at some point this week, and as we get any new developments, we'll bring it to you right here on News 12.
Sorry about the jumpiness that must be on their end. First of all, I have to address what Tui just said. She brought them blankets and heaters. Heaters? What a bunch of crap. We all know that ain't true. Come on, I ain't buying that. I know y'all ain't either. So again, let's just go over here. So this is from Monday. Sergeant Norberto Flores showed text messages between Pollina and her ex-fiancé, Michael Valva. Some of the text showed Pollina saying she would not be letting Thomas Valva and his brother back into the home from the garage where they were sleeping. The messages correlated with videos that showed Thomas Valva or his brother sleeping in the garage or in a tent in the backyard. I hadn't heard of the tent before. Dr. Michael Kaplan, who performed the autopsy on Thomas Valva, believes that hypothermia was the cause of death. He showed a photo of the child before he died and said he had been hypothermic at other points before his death, as seen by his red hands. Wow, that's just really awfully sad. Pollina has pleaded not guilty to all charges. She will be called to the stand after prosecutors are finished calling their witnesses. Defense attorney Matthew Toohey said Pollina could be giving her testimony as soon as Tuesday. What she did is she brought blankets, she brought a heater, and she tried to help out, Toohey said. It was the father's acts from the beginning to the end which caused his death. Wow. I hate to tell you that, Toohey. That is got to be the worst quote I've seen from you this entire trial. If you believe that, I don't know, I got some land to sell you in the swamp, because that's a bunch of crap. You know that she didn't. She didn't do a damn thing to help those boys at all. That's just disgusting that she even is claiming that, because I don't believe it at all. And no. All right, and we're jumping over to Newsday here. And again, this was all from Monday's coverage. Jurors got to see videos on Monday of the family home, as well as those text messages. So let's check out Newsday's little video here.
Jurors in the trial of Angela Pollina saw videos of Thomas Valva and his brother Anthony in the garage. The videos marked by the high and low temperature for each date. Text messages between Pollina, accused in Thomas's death, and her ex-fiancé Michael Valva were displayed and read aloud. Many about Anthony, but some about Thomas. Valva was convicted of second-degree murder last year. Pollina is charged with the same. In one text exchange, Pollina said, referring to one of the boys, "That's fine. We'll see if he has a mattress tonight. I'm not going to give one effing thing." And later, "I want him out now. He continues to put me on CPS reports." In another, "These two boys are too much to handle." When Valva appeared to be pushing back on the sleeping in the garage, Pollina told him to stop making excuses. In another, Pollina referred to, quote, "that SOB Thomas."
Those text messages we saw certainly did not paint your client in a good light at all.
No, listen, the text messages, were uncomfortable. But, she's going to get up and not try and justify them, but explain them. And you definitely see a regression in terms of her ability to deal with Michael Valva and to deal with the situation.
Earlier Monday, former Suffolk County Chief Medical Examiner Michael Kaplan testified it was his determination that Thomas died of hypothermia.
The prosecution is expected to rest on Tuesday, and that's when Pollina's attorney says he will call his one and only witness, her.
Pollina's attorney Matthew Toohey pins the blame for Thomas's death solely on Michael Valva. Jurors also watched a video where Angela Pollina berated Thomas's brother Andrew. She screamed, "Move it, put the paper down, zipper your jacket." Cecilia Dowd for Newsday TV.
You never think it's possible to get more pissed off at this woman on the screen, but I think that it's very possible. And I'm pretty sure hearing her testimony from today, it's going to continue to grow. So that kind of gets us caught up to yesterday. And let's move on to Tuesday in the courtroom. So Tuesday, it looks like they rested this morning from the prosecution, and then Angela took the stand in the afternoon. Again, we're back to Newsday. Angela Pollina weeps on the witness stand at her murder trial in the death of 8-year-old Thomas Valva. Yeah, she's crying for herself. And I don't know about you guys, can she ever not look more like a witch in every single photo? Thank God there's a cop behind her just to make sure. Angela Pollina, testifying tearfully at her murder trial Tuesday, said it wasn't until after her then-fiancé Michael Valva took his son Thomas out of a basement bathtub that she realized the 8-year-old needed help. His eyes were closed, said Pollina, crying on the witness stand inside a packed Riverhead courtroom. I called his name out. He didn't answer me. Pollina, under questioning from her defense attorney, Matthew Toohey, testified she then ran upstairs and grabbed Valva's cell phone, and he called 911. Before that, Pollina said Thomas was awake was using the toilet in the basement bathroom, but felt cold and was shivering. Pollina said she retrieved blankets and a heater from her daughter's room to warm the boy. Yeah, right. When she came back, Thomas was unconscious, Pollina said. Pollina said she warned Valva not to put Thomas in the bathtub. I said, "Do not do that," Pollina said. Pollina took to the stand around 3 p.m. after lead Suffolk prosecutor finished questioning her last witness. At this time, the people rest, Carrie Ann Kelly told the judge at 2:51 p.m. Angela's going to give some perspective without justifying anything, Toohey said before her highly anticipated testimony on Tuesday, and at the same time show that Michael Valva has always been the one to take things to the extra level and did things on a physical nature. She's not going to justify her bad acts or what she did wrong. I think when you hear the story behind it, it may give a little perspective. Pollina has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder in Thomas's hypothermia death and is currently on trial in Suffolk County Court in Riverhead. Prosecutors have said Pollina, along with Thomas's father, Michael Valva, acted jointly to force Thomas and his older brother Anthony to spend their nights in the unheated garage of their Center Mauritius home and therefore equally are responsible for his death. Thomas died on January 17, 2020, after sleeping in the garage when it was just 19 degrees outside. So, yeah. So it looks like we've got part of her testimony. I don't know, considering it was 3 o'clock, if they got beyond, got to cross, rather, today. I'm going to assume not. Again, I'm still shocked, though, that we're looking at this hitting the jury this week. I don't know. That just shocks me. I mean, what do you guys think? I think it's quite a push. This seems like it's going way too quick. And I think that this is something that should have taken a bit longer. You're talking about the life of an 8-year-old boy who did nothing wrong. And this woman on the screen is horrific, along with his father, who's already in jail. All right, let me pull up Justyna's post. This is actually the Facebook group for the channel. So if you're interested in joining that, the link is in the information of every single video. I shared her post here this morning because I wanted to make sure everybody saw it. So I'm going to go through Justyna's post here. So she posted, like I said, this morning she posted this. I saw this after my run this morning. And her posts are always, they really get me, right in the gut. So they're very heart-wrenching. Criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina. Day 2, February 28th, 2023. So it looks like she's going back to last week. But again, this was posted this morning and she's trying to get caught up. So, yeah, she's not happy, which again, I don't blame her. Dear friends, at first I wanted to share with you my post regarding day 2 of the criminal trial proceeding People versus Angela Pollina that was almost completed before we found out shocking news that Suffolk County DA is going to rest their case today. Moreover, with Pollina's attorney willing to call only Pollina to testify, we are expecting that this criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina, will end today after only 6 days of the scheduled court proceedings. This is not normal and highly concerning. The extremely disturbing, rushing tactics implemented here for the purpose of finishing this criminal trial as soon as possible serve only one intended unlawful outcome: to deprive Tommy, his brothers, and our family from receiving full justice, to deprive all members of the public from discovering truthful facts and evidence related to the brutal murder of my son Tommy and years of horrific SA, physical, mental abuse, trafficking, inhumane tortures, and close to death starvation by Valva, Pollina, and other SA predators involved by them, whom my children were trafficked for enormous amounts of money, as well as to avoid prosecuting all the abusers involved in this case to the highest extent of the law. Obviously, there is not much time to cover day 3, 4, 5 of the aforementioned criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina. But majority of the witnesses already testified at Valva's criminal trial, and their testimonies were already addressed in my prior Facebook posts. All we have left now is to stand strong in our faith, trust unconditionally our Almighty God, who is the highest judge of all of us, and say our heartfelt prayers to the Most Holy Trinity through the intercession of Holy Mary and my brutally murdered son Tommy for justice to be served, truth unveiled, law obeyed, and punishment served upon all evildoers participating in those horrific crimes against my children. Therefore, before I start commenting on day 2, I found out that the criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina, unfortunately shares very similar unreasonable restrictions observed in People versus Michael Valva criminal trial proceeding in regards to court's decision of not allowing any videotaping or photo coverage inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that presiding judge changed in this criminal matter, we are still dealing with great concerns in regarding to depriving members of the public from our right to have full transparency in this case. As many of you know, large number of high-profile criminal cases are televised around the country, even around the world, and the evidence presented at both trials, as well as testimonies provided on court's records, should be available for public viewing through various media reporting outlets and sources. Instead, since the beginning of this criminal case, many facts and evidence are purposely not being exposed, which definitely results in lack of transparency, impartiality, truthfulness, and justice. This is definitely highly concerning. Members of the public are really tired of seeing in Newsday articles and other newspapers over and over again the same current picture of Pollina taken during the opening statements presented at day 1 of the aforementioned criminal trial proceeding. Amen, sister. I am sick and tired of seeing that same picture. Although I have to tell you though, Justyna, she doesn't seem to have much more of a different look to her every day. Day 2 of the criminal trial proceeding, People versus Angela Pollina, started with Suffolk County DA and Pollina's defense team making of evidence, as well as the testimony of Detective Ronca continued from a prior day. Suffolk County DA asked Ronca if on January 17, 2020, crime scene specialists were present and took photographs. He responded yes, and the photos showing the layout of the house was shown to jurors as evidence. Now let's just stop for a second because, as you are recalling from my previous Facebook posts dated October 4th, 2022, regarding Valva's trial, the photos of the crime scene area were taken the same day of Tommy's brutal murder, January 17th, 2020, by the Suffolk County PD officer Rios, who worked at the Suffolk County Crime Scene Unit. In Valva's trial on 10/3/2022, P.O. Rios testified that she took 70 photographs outside and only 37 photographs of the garage, the main crime scene area. This was very concerning. Also, we learned from her testimony that neighbor Laura Loretta walked over to P.O. Rios and spoke with her for 10 to 15 minutes. P.O. Rios, instead of securing the crime scene area, allowed other individuals to interfere with pending criminal investigation. And what makes this whole situation even more concerning is the fact that both neighbors, Padone and Loretta, immediately knew what the responding officers are looking for and what evidence they need in regards to the aforementioned crime scene investigation. Those two women were faster in obtaining information related to this criminal case than any other experienced investigative reporter. And on 1/17/2020, the media coverage of this case did not exist yet. Moreover, both Padone and Loretta never provided their written statements in regard to this case, as teachers and other potential witnesses did. Neighbors Cara Padone, living at 9 Bittersweet Lane, and Laura Loretta, living at 15 Bittersweet Lane, also spoke to Detective Ronca and informed him that they have Ring flood light camera that covered the scene and shared 11 Bittersweet Lane view. You would think that both neighbors were the miracle workers, but the truth is completely different. The details of their secret interactions with Suffolk County PD are unknown to the public. There must have been intense brainstorming, followed by urgent debating and emergency voting on behalf of the members of Valva and Pollina's corrupted team to create an official version of this cover-up. That is the first time I'm hearing about all this, Justyna. And the more you share, the more corruption we're starting to see. It's really sad. And then she mentions checking out her Facebook posts dated 10/4 and 10/6. And then she's going back here. Going back to Detective Ronka's testimony regarding the crime scene specialists allegedly being present at Valva's and Pollina's home on the day of Tommy's murder, 1/17/2020, obviously is not truthful. I inform you in my prior Facebook post dated October 7th, 2022, that Assistant Chief of the Suffolk County Crime Laboratory, Constance Dickel, testified that she went to Valva and Pollina's home as crime scene analyst on January 24th, 2020, after being notified a day prior on January 23rd, 2020. As I wrote before, extremely concerning is the fact that Mrs. Dinkle, as a person responsible to collect evidence, was not called to the crime scene area of Valva and Pollina's home on the day of Tommy's murder, which was 7 days prior on January 17th, 2020. Yeah, that's concerning. Moreover, Detective Ronka testified during Valva's trial that the investigation changed from non-criminal to criminal right after Tommy's autopsy was performed, which was the next day after Tommy's murder on January 18th, 2020. It is apparent that Valva Pollina and their corrupted team needed 7 days to tamper with crucial evidence related to this matter, and by the time Mrs. Dinkle arrived, many traces of crucial evidence were cleaned up and removed. January 24th, 2020 was the day when Valva and Pollina were arrested and charged with second-degree murder of my son Tommy with depraved indifference to human life and 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Looks like if it was decision regarding Valva and Pollina's arrest was not made, the forensic evidence would have never been collected from the crime scene area of Valva and Pollina's home. Moreover, Suffolk County DA signed unlawful stipulation with Valva's defense team to have many of the crucial evidence findings redacted that were found at the crime scene area, such as fingerprints, DNA testing, bloodstains, and other questionable stains. We all know that this was purposely done by Suffolk County DA to protect the identity of high, powerful position SA predators involved in SAing my boys. And similarly, you will find out at the end of this Facebook post that Suffolk County DA repeated their unlawful impartial actions in currently pending criminal trial proceeding People versus Angela Pollina. Wow. Next, the photo evidence was shown to the jury panel that included pictures of the house inside and outside, pictures of the garage, crib mattress, installed cameras, basement, den area, bathroom. And as we all know from Valva's criminal trial, many objects in the garage area were purposely planted to mislead the jurors and the public and make them believe that the garage looked like a semi-normal room. And she's asking that you please see her Facebook post dated October 23rd, 2022. Furthermore, Suffolk County DA pointed jurors' attention that Pollina's cousin, Ed Coliciano, lived in the basement. Coliciano already provided his concerning testimony at Valva's trial that was already addressed in my prior Facebook posts dated 10/13/2022 and 10/15/2022. And again, she links them here. Ronka's testimony continued further. He indicated that neighbor at 9 Bittersweet Lane had a Ring floodlight camera, and he did a playback on the neighbor's phone. I already addressed Ronka's false testimony in my prior Facebook post dated 10/22/22. Among piles of Ronka's lies, the untruthful testimony related to the neighbor Pedoni's floodlight camera should ensure that you right away that the story regarding video and voice recordings from Valva and Pollina's Nest surveillance system being allegedly deleted is false. Pedoni, as well as any floodlight camera, can only detect people up to 30 feet away and has camera field view of only 140 degrees. from Padoni's house to Valva and Pollina's house, based on Google Maps, is 131 feet, which passes the allowed distance of 30 feet, which is more than 4 times. There is absolutely no way Valva and Pollina's driveway could be seen from Padoni's floodlight camera. Wow. Ronka testified that he saw the school bus arriving, children getting on the bus, 3 children coming down to the bus, driveway at Valva's and Pollina's home. Consent to search signed by Pollina, and personal items belonged to the children, their clothes, Tommy's backpack, soiled diapers, wet shirt with feces on it, and Tommy's wet frozen pants with feces on them. Then Suffolk County prosecutor asked if the detective could step down and show jurors the evidence, and Judge Mazzy said no, and made the detective show the evidence from the podium that he was at. No transparency. Why the judge did not allow the jurors to clearly see and examine the evidence. I think they can ask for it, though, in the jury room. I'm hoping that they make that clear. There's no reason that the jury can't see the evidence closer. I hope they know that. Then Suffolk County DA showed close-up of Nest's camera facing into the garage, crime scene placards, blood towel stain, blood on the floor. The testing of that blood stains were never disclosed to the public, but redacted from public's record per Suffolk County DA partial actions. Similarly, forgot about Suffolk County DA disclosing any information regarding fingerprints or DNA traces found at the crime scene area. Everything is being done by Suffolk County DA to protect the identity of the SA predators involved in SAing and trafficking my 3 children. Further, Ronka's testimony described his interview with Superintendent Russo, teachers, following up on CPS reports. CPS reports were purposely not introduced as evidence in both of the criminal trial proceedings by Suffolk County DA to protect the Suffolk County Department of Social Services and all CPS caseworkers and their supervisors involved in covering up Valva and Pollina's crime. That is 100% true. They have definitely been covering up that CPS situation, and it was supposed to be investigated, but nothing's happening yet on that. What the hell? Then Ronka started to explain himself for why the 7 days since Tommy's murder, 117 to 124, 2020. He did absolutely nothing to effect arrest upon highly dangerous abusers and murderers Michael Valva and Angela Pollina. Ronka finally arrested Valva and Pollina on 124, 2020 at 6:10 a.m. And after 3 years, we finally got confirmation what was being stated at first, but then hidden from the public. The police unit dispatched to Valva and Pollina's home had to make forced entry into the house to arrest them. Moreover, many members of the public know that Valva took out his gun and pointed toward responding officers. Valva and Pollina were found in their bedroom, where Valva kept his loaded guns, and for the whole 7 days, 117 to 124, 2020, he was in possession of them, despite the fact that Suffolk County PD investigation changed from non-criminal to criminal already the next day, 118, 2020. I had no idea about this, Justyna. That is crazy. My other 2 children could have been easily killed by Valva. Ronka's and the entire Suffolk County PD completely failed to ensure my children's safety. And I believe they also failed to ensure the girls' safety too. Moreover, Suffolk County DA failed to file additional charges against Valva for resisting the arrest and placing responding officers in imminent danger of losing their lives. You know, it's really sad. I'm going to finish reading most of the stuff from that she posted. It's really sad that she's having to put out this truth and Suffolk County is not the one doing it. Yeah. Further, in Ronka's testimony, we hear more lies that he walked through the entire Valva and Pollina's home, their property, and took over an hour looking for evidence because now it was a criminal investigation. This contradicts his prior statements made during Valva's trial that the investigation changed from non-criminal to criminal the next day after Tommy's autopsy was performed. Then Suffolk County DA started to show the video evidence to the jurors from across the street front entry walkway to driveway, and Judge Mazzy told Prosecutor Kelly to speed it up. Similar order was directed to Prosecutor Scahill to fast forward. This display of evidence should not be rushed, but jurors should be afforded to see the evidence presented and examine them. Absolutely fact. Truly, the evidence presented on that day by Suffolk County DA can classify as bare minimum in order to rush this criminal trial proceeding and hide the crucial findings. The most important pieces of evidence in both criminal trial proceedings, video and voice recordings from Valva and Pollina's Nest home surveillance system, Valva and Pollina's joint Chase bank account statements showing skyrocketing deposits from SA predators for trafficking and SAing my children, lab findings in regards to any DNA, blood work, and fingerprints collected at the crime scene area were hidden, redacted, removed, and tampered with. Manipulation and corruption that exist in this criminal case is beyond words. Surprisingly, Pollina's attorney, Tuhi, had no further questions regarding Ronka's testimony. Yeah, he didn't talk to any of them, really. That's very strange. Day 2 ended with the testimony of the school bus driver, Janet Mitchell, piano teacher Tina Licari, and Detective Gehrig. All of them testified at Valva's trial. Please see my prior Facebook post in regards to Detective Gehrig, whose testimony completely contradicts truthful facts and evidence existing in this case for the purpose of protecting the identity of SA predators involved in the horrific trafficking and SAing of my 3 children. Pollina's attorney, Tuhi, also did not question the first 2 witnesses. What happened next in court is absolutely shocking and just confirms how much corruption, manipulation, and partiality we are dealing with in Pollina and Valva's criminal trial proceedings. Judge Mazzy called counsels to have sidebar conversation with them, and after they finished, it was announced they already had prepared and signed 3-page stipulation in which both parties, Suffolk County DA and Pollina's attorney, Tuhi, agreed on what the following witnesses would have said. Those witnesses, among others, are crime scene specialists, Betty Gurich, nurse from East Moriches Elementary School, Daniel Ryden from Long Island Community Hospital, and others. That is really strange. This is very hard to digest, especially that the testimonies of those witnesses are crucial and highly important in this trial. Jury panel and members of the public are unlawfully being deprived from their right to know the truth in regards to facts and circumstances surrounding this criminal case. How much longer Suffolk County DA are going to be allowed to unlawfully protect the SA predators involved in horrifically abusing and trafficking my 3 children? My dear friends, your prayers are tremendously needed at this difficult time, because without God's help, we're not going to receive so much needed justice. Please continue keeping us in your heartfelt prayers to the Most Holy Trinity through the intercession of Holy Mary and my son Tommy to ensure that any traces of corruption, manipulation, partiality, and injustice disappear from this criminal case once and for all. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your prayers and support. May God bless you and your families. It's kind of hard to know what to say, because Justyna, she's a amazing woman, and I have never met her. She's one smart person. And you know what? This little guy on the screen, what a brave boy. What a brave kid he was. He didn't deserve anything that happened to him. Little Tommy was 8 years old. He was abused and tortured. And things happened to him that are hard to imagine. Really. It just breaks my heart. It really, truly does. And my heart goes out to his brothers and Justyna through this entire process that I know is extremely painful in so many ways for them. Yeah. All right, guys. I want to make sure I ended this with Tommy's face, because honestly, that's what we're looking for. Justice for Tommy. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. What matters is this little guy on the screen receives the justice that he deserves. The last years of his life were horrific. It's just like, it's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, and you know, it's like I said, it's just hard to put into words, but the one thing that always comes to mind is justice for Tommy, justice for Thomas. And I pray daily that this little guy gets the justice he deserves. His father's in jail for 25 years to life. And I pray that this jury is going to do the right thing and do the same thing to Pollina. And it doesn't buy her attorney's crappy story that she had nothing to do with it. And what a horrible, like, what an insult that she even suggested that she brought blankets and a heater to Tommy and his brother. I mean, what an insult. It's we all know that she didn't. That's the most bull crap I've heard, if anything. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I want to thank Justyna again for sharing with us her heart and the truth. Because of her, we're getting to know this sweet little face on the screen. And we are all with you. Justyna, we all are with you. Alright, guys, hug your families tight. And most of all, stay safe.